This is just something that I've been thinking about, and I'm curious if you have any thoughts. So if someone says that personally I've overcome the fear of death, we tend to think, this is a wise person. They're seeing death objectively as a natural process in life. There's nothing intrinsically bad about death. But then if you had the same attitude towards other people, like other people's deaths, neither good nor bad, it's nothing, then you may be seen as being a bit cold, and like, oh, there's something like, like socially. So how do you kind of think about those?
Well, more in terms of the distinction that the Stoics maintained that was central to their ethics between preference. So the Stoics thought there is this kind of paradox about our moral judgments, right? Let me think of a good on-ramp here. So the ideal, say, to pick a different situation, would be that we care about injustices that happen in the world enough to do something about them if we're able to, like to vote for a different government or whatever, but not so much that we become depressed or neurotic or really outraged in a way that's obviously harmful. So most people would agree that I should care about injustice, but not make myself neurotic, not get neurotic about it, right? So in a way, the Stoics are trying to tackle this problem and think, how is it possible to care enough about stuff that we would do something about it without driving ourselves nuts about it? And I think their solution is the only way that we can really do this is by making a distinction between two different types of value judgment, right? Because we don't have the conceptual apparatus to do this very successfully with the language that we have in our society, in an ancient Greek society. We need to make a more fine-grained distinction between one type of value judgment that says, I would prefer that politicians aren't corrupt, for example. Like, I would prefer it if politicians are honest. And I'll take action to change that insofar as it's within my power to do it, i.e. maybe by voting or something, or reporting corruption and being a whistleblower or something. If I have an opportunity to do something, then I do it. But not to invest so much value in it that I see it as something that intrinsically contributes to my quality of life. Like that I don't think that I have to have honest politicians in order to have a good life, right? My fulfillment, my fundamental goal, the goal in life, the most important thing to me in life doesn't depend on the world being perfect or politicians being honest or something like that. So when it comes to the suffering of other people, I think we have to make a similar kind of distinction, that I prefer it if other people like don't die in natural disasters and things like that. But I can't make my fulfillment depend on that. I mean, it would be crazy to, because it's a necessary part of human life that all mortals are born and die, and it's an intrinsic part of nature that some people die younger and some people die older and some people die peacefully in their bed and some people are like mauled to death by tigers or whatever. Like, or die of a horrible disease. Like, that's the way of the world, and it's how the world functions. And it'd be like kind of irrational, be kind of like crazy for me to wish that it just wasn't like that. What kind of world wouldn't be like that? Like if we all were immortal and walked around and never got any diseases or anything like that, then we would all die of boredom. I really think, strangely, like it's funny because people talk like that sometimes, but I find it quite hard to imagine this perfect world where there's no suffering and challenges and everything goes. So honestly, I think it would be incredibly dull. Like, so there's a sense in which the unpredictability of life and the fragility of it are part of what makes it interesting. and part of what gives it its value. So we don't, generally speaking, we have no control over whether other people ultimately die or not. Like everybody, as the Greeks used to say, supposedly Socrates said this, but it's attributed to Anaxagoras as well. Someone said you've been condemned to die by the Athenians, and he said they've been condemned to die by nature. Like, we're all condemned to die. Some people sooner, some people later. Nature, like itself, like the gods have condemned them to die. Like, so the men who condemned me are themselves condemned. Like, they're just kind of like in denial of it. So, we have to recognize that that's a natural phenomenon, that it's kind of inescapable in a way, and that typically it's beyond our direct control, maybe with some exceptions. I might be able to dive in somebody to save someone from drowning or whatever, but for the most part, I don't have that much control over saving other people's lives. There's people dying, someone just died that very second somewhere in the world probably. And throughout history, like, countless millions upon millions of people have lived and died, and will continue to do so in the future. So I think it's possible to have a kind of preference for one thing, or a dislike or a disapproval of another, while accepting or that we may not have control over it, and allowing our decisions and choices to be informed by that kind of preference or value judgment, but not viewing it as something that intrinsically contributes to our fulfillment, or the goal of life, as the Greeks tend to phrase it, and therefore not something that we should get highly distressed about, right? Like Socrates said, he's a man of flesh and blood, so he does have feelings. He's saddened to see the death of other people, but there's a difference between being sad about something and becoming clinically depressed about it. Like, we shouldn't see it as the end of the world, like, and the kind of something that ruins all of life for us. And another thing that changes the value that we attribute to external events is seeing the bigger picture, right? So while it's true that people die, and there's a tragedy to that, but also an inevitability about it. Everywhere in the world, this split seconds to a baby's being born, right? And someone's coming into existence, right? So, like, when you look at existence in the round, I mean, if you just sit and contemplate all the people dying, that'd be kind of depressing. But if you think about the fact that lots of people are being born and they have their whole life to look forward to, that's kind of maybe more inspiring. But the wise person would think of all of these things side by side. And so they'd have this kind of more nuanced, balanced, blended emotional reaction to events. And the Socrates, I think, and certainly the Stoics, would consider it irrational and a form of self-deception to place only the bad under a magnifying glass and get kind of tunnel vision for it, so that we're ignoring all of the positive or all the other aspects of life. Life would seem very dark if you only look at the kind of negative parts of it in isolation. But that's a lie. Like, it's a lie of omission, Like, and what is the emotional reaction? The appropriate feeling that we have when we think about the whole of existence in a rounded and balanced way. I don't know, but it's probably not a kind of extreme anger or extreme depression or extreme anxiety. At the very least, my perception is that, and from working with clients on altering the perspective, generally the most extreme emotional reaction occurs when you have this kind of narrow tunnel vision, and any broadening of perspective tends to moderate or dilute your emotional response. So again, you might think, well, this is a tragic thing that's happening, but because I'm aware there are lots of other positive things happening at the same time, I don't see it as depressing. Like, because there are things, to feel happy about and things to feel sad about simultaneously when I take a step back and look at the world.